babe. Don't forget we gotta get ready in 2 hours for that event, okay?
I got so much to do. How am I ever gonna get this done?
Jay, so do we need to cancel? What are you wearing? It's game night.
Big J.
Yes, it's about time you came to watch
I know.
Vegas.
Yeah, I've been here a lot. The past, I just haven't seen you. That's few.
So we have this plane's flying overhead, so don't mind us. So we've been connected, but not really connected. So Dave's been a lot of transitional time, as you guys know. There's been a lot of new content on JTV, which in the beginning that was our goal. Kind of, we wanted to make this a platform rather than just a J channel. I mean, it started off as like Swole Monkey Productions,
That's right.
and then we worked together on all these magazine digital processes, and then when we decided to really focus on JTV, it was about J content, but we also wanted to, since we already had viewers on there, we wanted to be able to feature a lot of new talent. We've actually gotten some really solid talent on there lately.
Yeah.
Some big hitters like Flex Lewis and Antoine.
Antoine Valleno and Hassan.
Yeah.
Which I was really glad. I mean, I was not able to go because I came here for the California. Unfortunately, they were very strict about how many people could actually go in the show, so I couldn't even go to the show. I had to watch it on the pay-per-view. But the good thing is I was able to shoot with Antoine and Hassan, and just for that alone, the trip was worth it because they were great guys to film.
Yeah, and we were able to get Antoine early. He got the whole media blitz, and I've been in touch with him prior to when he tore his bicep. He started reaching out to me. I think we spoke about this, and you were actually able to shoot him years ago.
Oh my God!
And I told you,
2013,
I said this kid should be in the film.
Yeah, because he was tricking and all the martial arts stuff.
And I actually said to him, we had dinner on Saturday night after the show, and I said, man, can you do a flip on stage? And he goes, man, I can do it, but I don't want to hurt myself. So I told him for his Olympia routine, he should probably do one of these.
Oh my God, he's sick good. He's so good.
So I always thought, this guy should be a martial artist in a film, and he had that was when he was a lot smaller. Now he's transitioned into something pretty special, and I think I told him, and I think he mentioned this, that he needs to focus on standing next to the best. And that's really what his goal should be for the Olympia. I hate when people ask, what is your prediction on what you'll place?
I asked him what his goal was going to be for the Olympia. Yeah.
And what did he say?
He said what you said.
Yeah. To stand next to the best, because I know for my first Olympia, guys, and this went for every Olympia, I really thought I was going to win. I truly did.
299.
And you met me in in 03-ish time, right?
01,
but I mean, you were with me from the Olympia 2003 forward, and every year I went in like, man, it's my show, right? And luckily, you weren't there for the early stages, but I mean, it was, we did 03, 4, 5, and then I won in 6, so it made a huge difference. So,
we're happy for him. I was so glad that he won. Because I told him, I said in the video, we actually reached out to him when he told me he was in Vegas earlier that week. I said, I hit him up and I said, hey, do you want to shoot for the channel? We were supposed to film him last year as he was from for a Euro Pro. Of course, he hurt his bicep, so that kind of fell through. But no matter what he was going to place at the show, we wanted to have him on the channel just because he's not that easy to get a hold of. So the fact that he won the show made it that much more special. And he actually, of course, everybody hit him up to do an interview, MD, RX, all these guys, and he actually made sure he filmed with us first before he did anything else to give us priority, and that was really nice, and we really appreciate Antoine.
Yeah, and this year's a little tough because normally we can start doing predictions. We're like, I think 12 or 11 weeks now, and we just can't predict because we don't know who's going to be able to come, right? Still,
especially
it's kind of
from overseas,
or who's still going to qualify, because we still have a couple qualification shows. It's funny, this morning I was flipping through Instagram at like 7 in the morning and I saw pictures of Big Rami. Did you see the pictures today?
No.
So he's in shape right now. Like strided glutes and whatever. So I mean, he's doing a show. And I don't know if it's Spain or if it's going to be, I heard Chicago. We know Regan's trying to get, better qualification because I think he's already qualified on points. But we should have some other guys that are probably knocking at the door for the men's open. And, people are forgetting about William Bonnick. That's who they're really forgetting about. And then, of course, if Hadi Chupin comes and that Flex Lewis comparison, and we have certain people who we're kind of rooting for because we've kind of, like the year Sean Roden won the Olympia, he predicted. Now Flex, of course, gave us an early view on what he's doing, and John De La Rosa and all these guys. I mean, and of course, he wanted to get the Brazilian. Rafael, unfortunately, we didn't get him. Yeah,
he's coming back.
We didn't get him on the show. So we're looking forward to see what this. He's supposedly doing Spain, I think, too.
Yes, he looks great.
So if he can qualify, it's going to be a hell of a show. I mean, we look forward to it. And, I'm not sure what's going to happen in Las Vegas yet, but as far as the fans or Expo or whatnot, but Dan seems to think he has a plan. So
I hope, because it's going to be after the election, which I think should help.
Yeah.
So it's towards the end of the end, which I think was a good move for him to do that. We definitely are invested in a lot of these guys because we filmed them, we're friends of them, we've known them for years. So it's, don't you find it tough though that because you were close to a lot of them, and it's hard to actually, especially for you, to pick someone because you all want them to win, obviously, Is it tough?
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, especially when you have a returning Mr. Olympia last year, right, Brandon, and then you have the guy that, was almost unbeatable for 7 years, Phil Heath. Like, and without question, those two are definitely the front runners of the show. But then you have the Flex Lewis effect, and then you have the Hadi Chupin, who could have, arguably been in the top spot, and then William Bonnick, who's been so consistent. So I hate when people are counting someone like that out. And then the unbelievable Dexter Jackson, right? We see him training now with Brad Rowe in California. He's part of that whole, what they call him, the electrician or the mechanic, So he's training on the newbie machine, and I just think there's a huge open space for a lot of guys to be in that top contention this year, which is awesome. And it's definitely that time of year brings a lot of great memories to my career, throwback in my career, and we challenged a lot of guys up and coming, right?
Yeah,
it was a good time. So we're looking forward to Great Olympia. We'll hopefully keep featuring some of the guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
We did want to get to a couple of the questions because I know a few of you, and I'm going to get to probably one of the most common questions. But this 19-year-old reached out to me. His name is Colton Johnson. So Colton, you're the special shout out this question. So he actually asked me. He says, "I know this is a long shot. He never thinks I'm going to answer this this DM, but we're actually going to answer it on the channel." I'm 19 and started a fitness journey to see just how big and muscular I can make myself, to challenge and see what my body is capable of being. I watch a lot of your videos on YouTube, JTV. Are there any tips, key workouts, or advice you could give me? Anything is appreciated. So I get a lot of these, right? And this is a very general question. Okay, what are your tips? What's your training programs? I mean, as you know, we all have our different training methods, right? You work with the time under tension, a little more slow and contracted movements, right? Where I was an explosive trainer, I was high volume. So I focused on 8 to 12 repetitions. I did everything 12 to 20 sets. Very little rest time, right? That was the key to my success, was only 45 to 60 seconds rest between each set. But for back and legs, those were higher volume days. Now, I preferred training twice a day a lot. So I would actually, space my workouts 5 hours apart. So I train early in the morning, rest for 5 hours, eat a couple meals. I'd go back to the gym and train in the evening. Those were probably the best result years. Unfortunately, my schedule became more of a working bodybuilder. So I wasn't allowed to do as much because work kind of took over, and I suffered from the success of bodybuilding, which made me train once a day. But I still like to group body parts once a day usually, or if I'm going to train arms, like I'll do bis and tris together. I suggest training 5 days a week. Start with a schedule that fits your routine. You shouldn't spend more than an hour at a time in the gym. Okay, and I think focusing on 9 to 12 sets per body part is a great way to start, right? 8 to 12 repetitions, I think your rep range just falls about the same. And listen, there's no difference between the beginner, intermediate, and advanced trainer, as far as like, of course you're going to get into more of the exercises that require a little more core, but I would focus on just sticking to the basics and be smart about it. Remember, you're growing outside the gym, not inside the gym. So make sure you place your meals. There's a whole meal program, eating every 3 hours, having a great breakfast and meal post and pre-training.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
The Lisa question.
Okay, well, let's ask the Lisa question.
So the Lisa question was, if you could train with any bodybuilder, dead or alive, throughout the history, who would it be?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
For sure. Why?
I think Arnold, not because I was so impressed with the way he trained. I was more impressed with the atmosphere, right? So you had all those big guys training at the old Gold's Gym, which was the small Gold's Gym.
On Ocean Avenue.
Yeah, so if you guys traveled to Venice Beach, you'll know about the old Gold's Gym. I think it's someone's house now.
Yeah, someone's living there.
It still says Gold's Gym
on the outside, yeah.
So the Mecca of bodybuilding is not the original Gold's Gym. So they trained there. It was very basic. It was prior to hammer strength and all these other equipment, and they would make shift with a lot of free weight movements. They would train in bare feet. They would train in tank tops or shirtless. And a lot of the guys, they trained together. And there was a lot of camaraderie, which we don't see today, because I feel that if you ask me why we suffer from the lack of camaraderie, is because financially it's a tough game now. And back then, you're winning $500 or maybe no money for Mr. Olympia. Now you're talking $400 grand. There's a lot on the table. There's contracts. Everyone's kind of got their own little hustle going on. So I feel that a lot of the guys don't have that relationship, although some do train together. I mean, we just shot Stan and Sean, who are all
De La Rosa and Flex. And
who are in the same divisions. Yeah. The Lee Haney, Rich Gaspari. I mean, remember that training? They were training together. Gaspari was.
They were first and second.
Yeah, but he was there first when he was an amateur. He wasn't a pro yet, and he was training with Lee Haney, with Mr. Olympia. So, and then he came up and challenged Lee, right?
For a couple of years. Yeah.
So I mean, there's just certain people that I think I truly didn't watch Pumping Iron until I was a pro. So that wasn't one of those things that I sat and watched that video. It was in a VHS form back then. So I didn't get to see that, but watching that documentary really opens your eyes to like how different it is from today's era of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I think that, I was an Arnold fan from the movies more than I was from bodybuilding, and then eventually winning the Arnold Classic was really, really cool.
Yeah. And you got to meet Arnold several times for winning his show.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a trip.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, coming from where we come from, right? Yeah. I mean, meeting all these guys like Steven Stallone, who was my hero, and meeting him. I met him at the Arnold Classic.
You gotta tell that story again. I'm sure you mentioned it once, but tell the story when you met Stallone for the first time. That's cool.
Yeah, so I was winning my third Arnold, 04, and Kerry and I were walking into Morton's Steakhouse. It was in Columbus. Yeah. So we finished the show, and then all of a sudden. This guy, Vince Andrich, who used to work in the Weider organization, and he was helping Stallone at the time with his supplement in his in-stone company. He came running over as I was walking in, and he's like, "Hey, Jay, someone wants to meet you, da-da-da-da-da." And I said, okay, and I'm a nice guy, I just won the show, I was pretty happy. So he drags me over to the limousine, and all of a sudden, the door opens, and Stallone is like, "Hey, I'm a huge fan," And he steps out, and I'm like, damn, this is Sylvester Stallone.
That is awesome.
And truly, like I always mention, like Stallone and Van Damme were my heroes, right? And we ran into Van Damme recently.
Yeah.
So when he came out and shook my hand, it was like it's like, man, wow, that's pretty crazy. And Kerry was there, and we walked into Morton's after, like, can you believe that? Like, Stallone.
How did you act? I'm sure you act just very.
No, you know how I am.
I know,
and I wasn't like. It's funny because you meet and you don't know what to say, and I knew, hey man, it's awesome, and I appreciate everything you do, and da da da. And he was pushing the supplements at the time. And,
but he remembered you also because you went to meet him.
We went. He was doing the Contender here,
yes.
So his brother was a fan too.
Frank Stallone.
Yeah, so when I met him, he came and he's like, come see me at the, so he let me in there.
That's awesome.
And I got to watch the filming of the Contender.
That was the finale.
Yeah.
In Vegas. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was at like Caesars or something. So it was pretty cool. And I've always been a fan of his, and obviously we have mutual people that we're friendly with or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just done amazing things. And I didn't know, like, the whole Rocky back, I didn't know he really wrote the script and all that at that time. You know, I was just a Rocky 4 fan. I mean, I watched, you know, all those guys, and I know, like, even the Russian Dolph Lundgren. Yeah. You know, he was shooting at Gold's Gym recently. You know, we saw that. Yeah. So,
yeah, you got the life.
No, that's you.
Friends with Stallone. I'm not friends with Stallone. He knows your name. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. So, so what other questions do we have?
That's all I got, man. I just wanted to kind of catch up.
Trying to. I know we had a couple questions here. That's why I wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And you can edit it.
Yeah.
You don't want that question. It's a sex question.
People will probably want to hear it. Yeah. Like how bad is
Why
it?
do you have pink clothing?
I have the pink.
Well, that's an obvious one.
Because I'm a pig. Because I'm sick. That's funny.
Yeah. So. Oh. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So. All right. So we edited in. So another question people ask me is about the vegan diet. And as you know, I just launched a vegan protein. It's going to launch actually this week. So this protein will be launched by the time this video is probably launched.
You told me it tastes awesome.
Yeah. So it tastes it tastes great. And I'm getting a lot of vegan questions about like the health aspects as you get older. And I know a lot of people that have switched over to vegan, including the protein. And I'll be honest, like I've been drinking the vegan protein lately, and I don't have a vegan reason why I'm doing that. It tastes good, and I hear it is better on your stomach. But I know, you know, there's been all this, you know, the movie talked about like how bad meat was and whatever. And I know Arnold was kind of raving about his vegan diet now that changed everything. But I know as a bodybuilder, it's just really hard to build muscle without quality protein, meaning from animal meat or whatever. Although I do limit the amount of red meat I eat, especially at my age now. I eat more fish. I focus on egg whites, even though people say the dairies might wreak havoc on their stomach. You know, turkey breast, that kind of stuff, instead of eating the heavy meats. Like if I go out to a dinner, if I went out, like I went out Saturday night and I went to like a steak restaurant and I actually had fish.
Really? What'd you have?
Sea bass.
Okay.
So I try to eat something lighter as it gets a little later at night, especially because I eat late when I go to dinner. So I'm not an advocate of vegan, although if people have that preference, I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I know it's just harder, especially for people like us that travel consistently, to find the vegan menu, especially when you're eating out of hotels or you're eating at certain restaurants. And, you know, to grow muscle, I still feel it's very hard to do that as a vegan continually.
You still like your chicken too, right?
I still like chicken breast, and you're one of these guys, you used to tell me I can't eat chicken, right?
Not the one I cook. If I buy it from someone else, cook it, then it's better. I don't know what it is. On the barbecue, I can't stand it, but yeah.
But like today, you did a drive, right?
Yeah.
So how do you eat when you?
So I had breakfast. I had a shake for my second meal.
Mm-hmm.
I just ate my third meal, which I'm late because I was stuck in the office signing the paper for the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm probably gonna have another shake, and then some egg whites and some cheese before I go to bed, and I'll be it. So I'm only on 5 meals right now.
Is it hard to eat 6 meals?
It's really hard, yeah.
And what do you think about the vegan diet? Would you ever do a vegan diet?
I don't know.
Do you think you could go on a you could go without meat though? Do you think you could go without meat? Because you have a lot of shakes and you have eggs in the morning.
So what am I like to eat as far as protein?
Just not chicken or steak. Could you go without it, or how many meals of chicken do you think you eat in a day, or steak?
At least 2 solid meals with chicken and steak, minimum. Plus breakfast, which is eggs, so that's 3 meals. So I could do 3 and 3. But see, you take that out, and then I'm stuck on,
You willing to try vegan protein powder?
Yeah, I would try it, but I don't know if I could stay on it all day long.
What would be your preference?
What flavors?
Peanut butter.
Yeah, what flavors do you have?
Only chocolate.
Yeah. Well, how's that Rice Krispies? I heard that Rice Krispies is good.
I don't have it here yet, but it's amazing. Yeah.
The peanut butter is awesome.
Yeah. That's the best one, I think. So.
Yeah. Is that your best seller?
Yeah, it is.
What's second?
Chocolate is right there. Believe it or not, cinnamon is right there too.
Really? You can mix the two. That's great. Chocolate peanut butter.
I haven't tried it yet.
Keith did it. He loves it.
Oh, really?
Our Keith. Yeah, loves it. It's like a Reese's Pieces. Yeah. So.
Who do you think our biggest supporter is of JTV?
I would say per Keith, those two on top of the list. I mean, those are the first two that popped in my head. Who else?
The guy from Boston.
Brian from Boston.
Yeah, he watches.
There's so many people. Wherever I go now, people they recognize my voice. They come to me and say, "Oh my God, I love the videos you guys are doing."
So when you travel to these gyms when you're shooting, I know you've been in LA. You shot yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Is JTV recognized?
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. Especially if I wear the shirt, the JTV shirt, which
we gotta get you a new one, huh? Because they're gonna wear that thing out.
And well, it's that same color, so it looks like I'm wearing the same shirt all the time. I have 3 of them, but it's the same uniform all the time. But guys, we want to say this video is gonna come out right before a video that I just shot yesterday with a guy named Mike Canberra. And Mike Canberra is a guy who has known Jay longer than I have, since he's 19 years old. So the guy just got 4th at the North American in the Masters class. Looks great. So we talk a little bit about bodybuilding, but most importantly, we talk about Jay when he was a kid. So this guy is actually the one who picked up Jay at the airport, helped him open a bank account, all kinds of great stories. You gotta watch that video. It's coming next after this.
Yeah, open the bank account. I didn't have a ton of money open the bank account back then. So people ask me all the time, when is the highlight of my career, right? And I've won Olympia titles and Arnold's, and we've talked about all this on jaywalking, and if I have the best memories of I'm gonna talk bodybuilding situation, and it's definitely when I moved to Orange County. When I moved to Aliso Viejo in '99, I wasn't anything. I mean, I was second to last at the Olympia that year, and the next year I moved up to 8th. I won my first pro show, bought my first home, but my life was so simple, and meaning I just ate, slept, and trained, and that's when I was training twice a day, and I was in bed at 9 every night, and I was up at 7 o'clock, and I was structured on the 6 meals a day, and I was climbing to the top, and it was definitely the time where I was the most focused because I had a set goal, right? And that goal was the Mr. Olympia title. I truly really started chasing it back then, and I started working with Steve Murphy, and I saw changes in my body. My effort was probably the most ever then, and that's when I think I was in the best headspace to be the best bodybuilder. So that's a very common question I get asked is the high points of my career. I mentioned the Muscle and Fitness cover. I mentioned winning the Mr. Olympia or Arnold Classics, the first one, and then
you had just moved to California too. That added to the whole thing,
Yeah, California was just a lot different. Even back then, and we mentioned this Mike Canberra, so I had very few friends. I was in a new atmosphere. I was training at new facilities. But we did have some really solid gyms, so it was kind of nice to train it. And the camaraderie was actually really great then. There was a lot of people around me that were influencing me to be better, and I was at the bottom of the pack then. So it was really had a big step to climb, and I eventually did it. And then, of course, I ended up in Las Vegas, and then it was just pretty much all business. My life in Las Vegas turned into more business than strictly bodybuilding. Although when I first moved here, it was all about bodybuilding, so I was competing multiple shows a year. But that transition time is I tell everyone, chase your dreams. If you have a vision of what you want to do and things might be better in a different region and you're a little unsure about it, I encourage everyone to kind of chase their dreams and really just follow through. If you truly believe in your heart you can achieve something, then don't let anyone try to tell you can't.
You know what's funny when you talk about your life, the way it was and the way it is now? You kind of went the opposite of what most people are doing. So most people get into bodybuilding with a regular job. They have to squeeze the gym training in between. They can't train when they train when they can. And then after that, they get a contract and they can just live the life. You did the opposite. you slept, trained bodybuilding, and eventually you got a regular job, kind of, not a regular job, but you work more than you did bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's like reverse for you a little bit.
Yeah, and
right?
the thing is I just, I never had enough. Like, I wanted to travel, and I wanted to be the best businessman bodybuilder that I was, and I think I set the standard for that, which I feel pretty proud of these days, where, people say, oh, are you disappointed you didn't win more Olympias? And it's like, man, no, I won Olympias and developed like a huge business around it, and now I'm living off that business.
A brand.
And it's exciting for me. So, we're not stopping, here. It's just, there's more to come, and it's just really cool when you can interview people that knew me from even prior to you did. So
I had so much fun doing it. So you got to watch that interview, guys. That's why I brought it up. So it's coming next after this video. Make sure to watch it.
So we'll be on track. We'll have another training video this week because I didn't tell you, but I'm coming to California to be training.
Nice.
So I want to appreciate everyone that follows along. Thank you guys for supporting the channel the last couple months, and please comment below. Please like, and please subscribe to the channel, and we'll have more for JTV.
Yep.